Hey, 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 happy Monday, y'all, and welcome to FPP Live, a time I connect all things faith with purpose and profit. I'm Nicole Roberts Jones, the Bank Boy, your brains expert, always excited and blessed to be here with you every Monday at 7 p.m. EST. Since you're coming in, those of you that watch me live, you know how I do. Don't come in this house and not speak. Tell me name and where you are in the world. If as I share, anything resonates with you, I want to know. So even if I don't get to acknowledge you while I'm live, because I'm committed to be here for 30 minutes, because I know you're busy, you've had a long day, and I'm going to give you actionable insight in 30 minutes, but I do come back and read every single comment. And sometimes if you ask a question while I'm live, I just may answer. So come on in and share and ask questions as we continue in a five-part series. Tonight is part three in the five-part series. The series is called Dominate in Your Lane, the strong foundation needed for a profitable business. Now listen, these areas that I'm discussing with you in this series is the area in your business that there's so many people overlook. Hey, Vicky in Houston. Hey, hey. And the reason I chose to do this series is because people overlook this. They look at marketing strategy and sales strategy. And without you having a solid foundation around your purpose, which keeps you from dominating in your lane, you'll never have the success that God created for you to have, and let alone have the impact you're meant to have in this world. So, here in part three, of this series, I'm talking to you about stop treating your business, your purpose focused business, like a booty call. I said booty call. I did. And here's what I mean by that. So, those of you that haven't heard this term, this is a term that got popular in the 90s. Bill Bellamy was on Def Comedy Jam and he used the term booty call. And then some months later, there was a movie. So, a booty call is typically a call that happens in the middle of a night around a sexual encounter. But I really want you to get out of a booty call is it's typically a call that comes to you that lacks commitment or devotion. And if you're going to have the purpose, the business that God intended for you to have, the biggest thing you've got to understand is you've got to be committed to it. You can't focus on your business, your purpose like a side hustle. Listen, I hear so many people that say, "Oh, I want to start this business. I want to make some quick, fast money." That's called a side hustle. And if you look up the word hustle, the definition of the word hustle has pimp and prostitute somewhere in the definition. And God didn't create your gift for you to pimp your gift. So I need you to understand that it's not about quick fast. It's not about, oh, I'm gonna do this for about a month, and if it doesn't work, I'm out. No, that's called a booty call. That's called you treating your business as if you're not going to be committed to the thing God created you to do. So there's a quote by Ken Blanchard that says, there's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses. What I add to that is no matter what. You know, this is what I'm meant to do, and you're going to do it no matter what. So I want you to think about it in terms of a relationship, since we're talking about booty call. So I'm going to share with you the 6 areas that you've really got to get clear on to move out of the booty call range in your business. Some of you guys don't even realize that you've been operating your business like it's a booty call, but you have. But before I do that, I want to dig more into this whole interest and committed. See, interest is fleeting. You know, what's interesting is the number of people that think they're going to start a relationship on a booty call. It doesn't work because it's based on something that's not of value. And if God deemed you valuable, when you give away yourself without value, or you give away your gift without valuing your gift, I think I said this last episode, one of my favorite quotes for the movie Color Purple, Sugar Avery says, talking to Celie toward the end of the movie, I think it pisses God off when you walk by Color Purple and you don't acknowledge it. But that's what a booty call is. You walking past your brilliance, your purpose, your genius, the one thing God created you to do in this world, and you're not even acknowledging it. You're not committing to it. You're doing what's easy, and when it gets hard, you're out. So I need you to understand the only way your purpose is really going to have the income and the impact is meant to have in this world, and then even growing a business from it, is for you to get committed to it. So I'm going to give you the 6 areas. Now I'm playing off of relationships. But, you know, even if you've been around me, you know, I always talk about a great business is like a relay. Couple ways. Number one, when you're marketing, I don't call it marketing, you really are dating your ideal client. And if you want them to make a commitment, there's some things you've got to be committed to before they commit to it. Okay. So, number one, y'all ready? Got your pen out? Number one, you've got to be present. There's a Bible verse, Psalms 46:1, that says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. God's our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Now, think about that in context of relationship. See, God is our ultimate example of what a relay is, a relationship. So, if He's our very present help, our refuge, and our strength, when you want to run, when you're present, you work it out. God never promised us starting a business or working your purpose is going to be easy, but it's always worth it. Listen, even in my Tony Evans, y'all know this is one of my favorite study Bible, it says underneath Psalms 46:1, God is our refuge. He's a place of security for his people. And when you're in a great relationship, when there's commitment, aren't you secure in it? When you know, like, you know, the person has your back, that they're going to be there no matter what, isn't there security present? Right? He is never too busy, but always available in times of trouble. Listen, God's available when it's times of not trouble. But I need you to understand when you're present, when somebody's going through, when your mate is going through, you're like, hey, no matter what, let me move every option off the table. Like if I give you a concrete example, I remember my mother-in-law was departing us, and she lived in South Carolina. And my husband and I knew, like, we know this might have been the last week. And the nurse called and said, you need to get here. And I never forget. I found a flight. It was leaving in an hour and a half. He was like, how am I going to get to the airport? I was like, just get home. I threw stuff in the bag. I said, hop in the car. I felt like Thelma and Louise driving down the freeway. We didn't live close to the airport. But that's being present. It's because I knew he needed to be there. No matter what, I was going to be the present help. So if God's our example, how are you being a present help to your purpose? How are you being a present help to the people that need you? How are you being present to who you are, right? So this is why I think everyone should do a SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you got to be present to who you are. So you've got to know what your strengths are. You've got to know what you're phenomenal at. As you're building your business, you've got to know what your weaknesses are, because those are the areas that you have room for improvement. Those are the areas that you need to hire a coach in. Those are the areas that you need to grow in. Opportunities are the places that you know, like you know, your business will flourish. But threats, again, are the areas you've got to strengthen. So if you've never sat down long enough to be present with you and be present with your purpose, then you've got to take some time to really understand that if you're not growing your purpose, listen, think about trees and leaves. And since we're in the fall as I'm recording this, if it's not growing, it's dead. So if your purpose isn't growing, then it's dead. If you're not watering and cultivating and being present to what needs to be worked on, it's dead. Which moves us into number two. Number two is give up the need to be right. How many of you guys know this in a relationship? You got to pick your battles, as my mother would say. So this to me means you've got to be coachable. The number of people that come to me that want to send me their resume, listen, I'm not coming for who you already are. Your resume, your bio is great, but all that is done. When God is rumbling something inside of you called your purpose, he's coming for who you have not yet become. So will you use all the things that you've already done? Yes. But there's a whole nother level of you that needs to come forward. If you're going to go after it, you've got to be coachable. So you having to be right means that you know it all and I don't need any more help. I don't need any coaches. I don't need any more schooling. I don't need any workshops. That's a lie. You've got to realize, as my pastor, Isaac Petrie would say, we grow on levels and live through stages. So you get to one level and you've learned all you can learn on that level. If you're going to move to the next level, you've got to be willing to be coachable. This is what the difference is between someone that wants to go to Olympics and someone that goes and wins gold medals like Serena Williams. This is the difference between somebody that wants to run for political office and somebody that wins an office and gets in there and starts affecting change like Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. or the difference between somebody that wants to become a singer, that wants to cut an album, that wants to be popular, and Beyonce. Now, the thing I love about Beyonce, y'all know I love me some Beyonce. So I use her for an example. Let me tell you why. She never settles for yesterday's success. She's always looking for what's next and how to grow her gift. The thing I love about her is she doesn't settle. So many of you settle for yesterday's success. If you're going to grow into your next, you've got to look at what can you do that will up-level you. You know, you've heard me say this if you've been in my camp, your purpose matriculates. So if I use myself for an example, I've been doing this year, this September marked 29 years. So I started my career in the entertainment industry, loved it, job I dreamed of ever since I was 7 years old. In the entertainment industry, what I was great at and what I loved was casting and producing, production, all things production. Now, when God told me to leave, I couldn't understand why, because I loved my job. I couldn't understand why I felt like something was missing. I couldn't understand why I was rumbling. This rumble was happening inside of me for more, but I had to be coachable because I couldn't see what was possible. And many of you stay where you are because you can't see how to get to your next. Of course, you can't see it. If you've never been there before, it's requiring a new level of you, which is why I will always say you need to get a coach. See, for me, it took a coach and it took me sitting in the library. And I'm saying library because there was no internet when I did this, y'all. So first, I sat in the library for look week after week on the weekends because I didn't even know what to call this thing that I do. Because again, there was no such thing as a coach. So I believe I had to go through the school of hard knocks to get here, so that I'd be so passionate about you not having to go through everything I went through. But if you're going to go after the next level of you, it's going to take a whole new level of your brilliance. I mean, you've got to be willing to stretch to grow to your next. Think about what a rubber band does. Stretches all the way back to come forward. So for me, going back to myself as an example, what did I love? I love production and I love casting, love them both. What do I do now? Production and casting. See, what I do is I put you in the right role that's in alignment with your purpose in your business. And then my team and I produce all the ways you can make money from it. Now, did I see that years ago when I left? No. But I had to be coachable. I had to trust God. Again, God is my refuge and strength, a very present help. If He's my refuge and my strength, I had to trust His strength and not my own. I had to trust that He knew better than I did. I had to act like in Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. There's times when my husband and I don't agree. And I'll just say, you know what? You just make the decision. And how can I do that? Because I trust him. I know he will always do the best for our family. Or sometimes I'm on the road and there's things going on. I'm like, you know, baby, just decide. And so you've got to know that every battle's not worth fighting. There are times that you might need to let go. There are times that you might need to learn something in the middle of it. And you might realize that somebody might know better than you. I'm talking to myself, I'm saying that. I've had to learn it the hard way. Because if your purpose matriculates, just like we did through the education system, you don't stay in kindergarten the whole time you're in school. You move level to level to level to level, grade to grade to grade to grade, math to algebra to geometry to some of y'all went to trigonometry. I didn't. I knew better. The point I'm making is it's about growing you. So, depending on your career, those classes you needed are the classes you matriculated through, especially when you went through advanced when you got in college. So I was glad to get out of science and math because I was a TV and film major. So my production classes and my costume design classes and my lighting design and my directing classes and all those things that I absolutely loved. Do you know I use all of it now, including lighting? So my question to you is how do you need to, going back to number one, looking at your SWOT, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, and your weak areas, where do you need to grow? Where might you be coachable? Where might you not need to be right? And your threats, same thing. So you've got to be willing to grow. If you're going to cultivate your purpose, if you're going to continue to grow it year after year, You've got to know it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time thing. It's ongoing. You don't grow one time and you're done. That's why such a purpose matriculates. So I've seen what happens is when I'm done with this level, God always brings me to the next. So when I started in this journey, I started working with teenage girls. And then God matriculated me to work with women. And now God has me working with men and corporations. But had I just jumped and went from working in entertainment to corporations, I would have been like, ugh. Why? Because I'd never worked in corporate before. I had to get clear and focused and grow in my purpose. And to do that, I had to be present to who I be and who God is and allow God to speak to my soul and learn who I am, learn my strengths, stand confident in my strengths, and grow in my weak areas. One of my weakest areas was my P&L. Now, can I tell y'all when my first coach kept saying P&L, profit and loss, those of you that don't know what that is, I kept calling it P&R because I didn't know what it was. So I had to get really clear. Am I good at it? No. But as a CEO, I have to be able to read it and understand where my money's going and where it's not if I'm going to run a business. So there's areas that are weak that I had to learn. So what are the areas that you need to learn to grow your purpose into your business and or career? Because many of you guys may be growing it into your career, right? The number 3, you've got to spend time totally focused on your purpose. Listen, no relationship grows if you don't actually spend time. I'm talking about quality time. I'm not talking about booty call time. I'm talking about dating. I'm talking about going out and getting to know each other. So, what I see so many business owners do, and many of you guys hear me talk about the be, do, have formula, is you focus so much on what do I need to do? 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 And oftentimes you leave your being out. And what's interesting is when you look at this in regards to relationships, when you're getting to know your partner, it's not about what you want. It's understanding what they want and they need that then allows the relationship to flourish. So this brings 1, 2, and 3 together to be present and to give up the need to be right. Well, I called you every day. Well, what if they don't? Look, I'm not a phone person. So calling me every day doesn't work. I don't hang out on the phone. Neither does my husband, thank God. So we get along really well with that. So it's really understanding and spending time and really focusing on how do you really cultivate this relationship? What does dating and quality time look like? And even dare I say there's 5 love languages. I'm not going to go into that teaching, but it's getting to know their love language. And in the same way, you've got to really understand, listen, your purpose is like a seed. When the seed gets planted, you've got to water the seed. If the seed doesn't get watered, the roots don't grow. If the roots don't grow, it's not firmly planted. This is the commitment piece. So if I'm going to nurture my relationship, I've got to learn the kind of water that my purpose needs, my partner needs, and I've got to focus on only watering it that way. The only way I get to know that is to be present and get to know him, whether that's God or my husband, both of them. Because even after being married for 15 years, my husband and I can finish each other's sentences. I can sometimes tell what he's thinking and I can feel it because we know each other intimately. Even with God, I've spent so much time with God. Now, I'm not going to say that I can't continue to grow my relationship with both. I can. But I've got to be present to hear God speak to my soul. God doesn't show up if you're being busy, being busy, being busy. So that's that doing sometimes gets in the way. So you've got to have inner work and outer work. The inner work is the being work you need. It's sitting in that quiet time where you and only you and God can have that date. Booty calls quick, fast, in a hurry. I'm going to call you in the middle of the night and only call you when I want something. That's not a relationship. And many of us pray and tell God, we want this and I want this, Lord, and I need you to do this, Lord. Instead of saying, Lord, you direct my steps. What is it you would have me do? Here is where I am, Lord. Tell me what to do next. And then listen. So if you're going to have a relay with God, you got to talk and listen so that you grow in your relationship. It's also getting to know him. So reading your Bible and spending time with understanding who he is. That's what a great relationship is. You know, I often tell people the 10 commandments, you know, all these rules and thou shall do this and thou shall do that. If I came home and my husband had a group of rules on the refrigerator, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out. Deuces. That's not a relationship. But when you get to know your creator and how he created you, that's the relay that comes forward. And there are times that I'm doing something that is out of alignment. I can feel it. I'm like, no, something's not right. Let me stop and let me sit with it. And when I sit with it, I can see well, whatever that is not in alignment. But I've got to sit with it. Sometimes it doesn't come up quickly. But that's because of the relay that I have. Is it perfect? No, I can still grow too. So I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm perfect because I'm not. I'm in this work just like you. But if you're going to really live into the purpose, don't brush past it and rush past it and go and start developing your business. That's having a booty call. Your purpose is in booty call mode. I need you to develop it fully and completely. Give yourself time to be present to it so you can understand what you are and what you're not. That's why values are so important. One of the exercises I take my clients through, because when you're not clear on your values, you don't know who you are and who you're not. You don't know when something isn't resonating with you, it's bumping up against your values. So being present is knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. It's then knowing that you've got to be coachable. You don't have every answer and you don't always need to be right. You don't. But when you stand in the brilliance that you are, and know you have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to protect or defend, nothing. But you allow yourself to grow in those areas where you might be weak, where you may not know, then your business grows. So for me, for 17 years, my first 17 years, my business was broke. Why? Because I kept thinking, I should know how to do this. I was teaching as an adjunct faculty at USC, two prestigious universities, USC for almost 5 years, and then I taught at Boston University, graduate school on top of it. By the way, I never applied for the first job, and then when I left USC, the dean of the School of Social Work called Boston University. Never applied for either job, so I was kind of feeling myself. If I'm gonna be honest, so I was thinking I should know how to do this, but I didn't. And it wasn't until I stopped feeling like I had to be right, that I had to have every answer, and I got a coach, that everything shifted for me. And many of you, there are things happening in your blind spots that you can't see. This happens in relationships too. You got two different people that grew up two different ways, trying to have one life. And even with your purpose, you may have grown up in a whole different way than what God is trying to show you that He wants you to operate your purpose in. And so it will usually shift how you see what you do. Again, for me, I was working in entertainment. I didn't understand. Now, here on this end of it, I get it now. When I first left, I didn't understand what the heck he was showing me. Oh, I had visions and everything, but it didn't really make sense. I didn't understand it. But I had to trust God. God is our refuge and our strength. So I had to trust His strength and not mine. I had to trust His direction and not what I could see. Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I had to stop focusing on what I could see and start looking to Him, the author and finisher of my faith. That's a Bible verse too, but I didn't write that down, right? Even Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. My people are destroyed. And many people don't get the knowledge that they need because they think they know it all. That was me. So I'm not sitting in judgment. I was like that for 17 years, hard headed. So I need you to really check these first three. Before we walk into the next three, we'll do that in part two. I need you to check where you are in these first three. So let me just read them again. Be present. God is our refuge and our strength, the very present help in trouble. Right? By the way, the word present means you're focused and engaged in the here and now. So when God gives you vision, it's out of ways. So not focusing on that, focusing on where you are right now to get to that place, right? And then give up the need to be right. You got to be coachable. Again, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So you're never finished. You're always growing. So my invitation to you is not to settle. Don't settle for yesterday's success. I want you to look at who you have not yet become. So I again love Beyonce. Listen, if Beyonce could, after having two babies, push herself to do Coachella, and those of you that haven't seen Coachella, go look at it. Literally came off of having two babies, had all her baby fat and everything. Now I don't know if I could eat like she was eating. I probably would have had I would have been hangry, hungry and angry at the same time, and trying to dance. and eating nothing. Yeah, I don't know how she did all that. But she was committed to up level herself, her career, her purpose, her gift. We each have the same opportunity. And then finally, spending time totally focused on your partner, totally focused on your purpose. It's not allowing anything to distract you, but nurturing it, being committed to only it. It's so funny. One of my girlfriends was teasing me. I went out with a group of my girlfriends this weekend, all in town for Howard's homecoming. And one was teasing me because I got a new ring a few years ago. And one was teasing me years ago saying my husband bought me this new ring so men wouldn't bother me. I said, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether I have this ring or not. I'm focused. I am in love with my husband, and there's no way. No way. Because I'm committed. I'm not interested. I'm committed in what we're building together. I'm committed in how we are partners together. My question to you is, where are you in those first three? Where are you in deficit? Where are you playing it safe in your purpose? Where are you only doing what's easy? If you're doing that, guess what? Your purpose is booty call. A commitment takes work. A commitment takes you being true to the thing and not giving up no matter what. No matter how hard things get. When you say your marriage vows, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, baby, I done been through all of that in my business, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health. There have been times that I've been sick live on here with you all, and I've not told you. Why? Because I'm committed to God, to the purpose He's given me, and to you. My question to you is, are you committed to the people that need you? Are you committed for richer, for poor, for better, or for worse, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? And yes, I am death do I part for my purpose. And that's really the difference. Have you really thought about the vows you take in a marriage? And if you're married to your purpose, are you married to the calling God has on your life? Are you married to being the one thing God has created you to do or be in this world? So we'll continue this conversation. We're going to continue this conversation in part two. But those of you that need support with it, listen, I created a template. My team and I, and it's just came out, I think it was last week. We created a template called the BMA Roadmap. And let me tell you why I created this template. Many people don't have a point A to point B strategy. They don't know how to get from point A to point B so that they have a profitable business. The BMA Roadmap walks you through each step you need. It's a 9-step journey. So I want to encourage you, it's free. Get the BMA Roadmap so that you get insight on how to move. Listen, most people are stuck in one of three areas. Either you have unclear messaging, you are overwhelmed with tech and technology, or overwhelmed with your schedule, or you don't have strategy at all. So the BMA Roadmap walks you through all of those areas so that you are not in deficit as you begin to build or grow your purpose-focused business, so that you get committed, but you know how to get committed the right way, so that you're not operating from a booty call. So you're not telling God, yeah, I'm not taking this seriously. I'm gonna step my toe in a little bit and test the waters. Yeah, that's called a booty call. I need you all the way in, committed to the thing God has called you to do, no matter what. And then those of you that are here with me every week, we do part two tomorrow morning in Clubhouse. That's at 8:30 a.m. EST. FPPbreakfast.com is where you go. And the reason I do the part two is because I get to hear your voice in Clubhouse. So listen, I share for the first 15 minutes, and Yolanda and sometimes some other folks that are on our Purpose Squad come in and share. But then we want to hear from you. If you have questions, you have thoughts, you're stuck. I'm stepping on your toes. I'm walking down your street. We want to hear from you, and I want to support you so that you can live out your purpose and dominate in the lane that God created you to dwell in. All right. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. Listen, I want you to always tell me the one thing you got out of our conversation. So post below the one thing you got out of tonight's conversation. The second thing I want to ask you to do is share. If you got any value, and I don't ask you to share to grow my list, but I ask you to share because you never know who in your community needs this insight. So again, I gave you the first 3 steps. The second 3, I'll give you tomorrow morning in our FPPbreakfast.com on Clubhouse, 8:30 a.m. EST. All right. So with that, thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the morning. Bye, y'all.